Epic Games Store not profitable in 5 years? That's crazy. What are they doing?
So there's some news about the current state of the Epic Games Store, which is the big PC gaming platform storefront slash launcher
The Steam killer, as some may know it.
that intends to be a competitor to Steam,
Yeah.
except that particular venture is not going as well as Epic and its CEO Tim Sweeney would like. So, for those who don't know, Epic is currently embroiled in a court case against Google because of claims that Google is essentially engaging in antitrust practices. So, right here is a description from The
Bro.
Verge. The future of Google's App Store is that
I mean, Google definitely is doing that. And now what's happening, by the way, Elon Musk is suing Google? I think Google's part of the lawsuit. Kick, I think, is also suing Google. I mean, everyone's suing Google. Because the reality is, by the way, if you do not know this, Google just baddies people. Google has already lost multiple antitrust cases against them for burying things. When their competitor has something big happening, guess what? Well, Google suddenly doesn't know what their opponent's names mean, and it finds you socks or something when you Google something that's their opposition. It's pretty crazy. So yeah, this is actually really good, by the way. Even though Epic is doing this for all the stupid wrong reasons, aka greed, but Google getting destroyed is really good.
at stake in a lawsuit by Fortnite publisher Epic Games. Epic sued Google in 2020 after a fight over in app purchase fees, claiming the Android operating system's Google Play Store constituted an unlawful monopoly. It wants Google to make using third party app stores side-loaded apps.
Yeah, essentially, Fortnite said Google is greedy. Let that sink in.
And non-Google payment processors easier. Basically, Epic doesn't like that Fortnite has to go through the Google Play Store, has to go through that whole ecosystem, and that they have to give the fees that are demanded of that instead of them being able to essentially ship their own storefront and kind of have everything run in their own ecosystem. And they want Google to allow third-party storefronts to be allowed in the Android ecosystem.
No, actually, it's just all about the money. Literally, they just don't like the fee. They're completely okay with everything else. They just don't like the fee.
Ecosystem and the operating system so that essentially Epic can have more control over the both the financial aspect of them being able to get 100% of the cut, and also just in general not being beholden to Google Play Store's policies, kind of like how Windows, for example, you can essentially download a number of storefronts and a number of launchers, and they operate in their own terms instead of being one Microsoft store through which everything has to operate, is the argument that Epic is making. But Google says its demands would damage Android's ability to offer a secure user experience and compete with Apple's iOS. Speaking of Apple, Epic confronted Apple with the same issues, though Apple actually won that court case, which tells us that maybe their chances against Google aren't so great. But that's a whole other
Obviously,
story.
yeah.
The reason I bring this up is because some information has been revealed about the current state of the Epic Game Store. This is a storefront that launched back in late 2018, and it was received with rather mixed results and mixed reception, in large part because of the way it was trying to compete against Steam. A lot of people, when they first heard about this, they welcomed the prospect of Steam having some competition because that would encourage Steam to not get complacent in their ways, and it encouraged them to essentially step up.
I don't understand the people who are talking about Steam and competition. Honestly, to a certain degree, can you find games that are good? Can you find a lot of games that are on Steam? Yes, you can. Can you use can does Steam offer you games that you could like and you sometimes do like them? Also, a ginormous yes, by the way. Does Steam constantly offer discounts to a lot of games? Also, yes, actually, constantly, in fact. So, what's wrong with Steam? I mean, Steam is one of those rare few things that we don't need but that we don't need competition for. There's a whole meme in the world about Steam and Christmas that everyone's just gonna buy 200 trillion games because everything's 90% off. I think Steam is one of those rare things that really doesn't need competition because it's not really doing anything that shady. At a baseline, I don't know. If you want Steam to be your girlfriend, then sure, I guess then Steam needs improvements. But on a baseline, I have nothing bad to say about Steam. It provides me with literally everything I want. I want find a game, buy it, download it, and play it without problems. And Steam allows me to do it, and it even allows me to sort the games and whatnot that I have. I think it's great, and their refund policy is way fairer than any other site in existence, by the way, because Steam forces those games to comply with their refund policy if they want to be on Steam.
Up in terms of features and practices and whatnot. But then Epic Game Store actually came out and they started doing things like buying out exclusives, which, in the PC landscape, that is definitely very frowned upon. Steam doesn't tend to do that unless it's like first-party releases, stuff made by Valve. Then sure, whatever. But what Epic Game Store was doing is essentially using the massive war chest from the huge success of Fortnite to buy out exclusive rights so that third-party games would be relegated to the Epic Game Store, despite it being a storefront that was very much in its early stages, was lacking in features, and did not have the ecosystem that would make people transfer over from Steam to Epic Game Store. Some people just like to stick to one ecosystem that they really like, and Steam being kind of the standard.
Most people inherently like it because, well, if Steam's good for you, are you really gonna try something else? No. You need a reason to try something else. If you have 20 different launchers, I mean, that's actually dealable, but that's honestly not that much even of a problem. It's annoying, yeah, but it's not actually a problem, right? So, people can deal with multiple launchers, but people need a reason to get another launcher in the first place.
And the de facto, and it being much more feature complete, games being relegated to Epic Game Store and people being forced to invest in an ecosystem that was still uncertain. And Epic Game Store competing in that way instead of just releasing a better launcher or just implementing certain innovations that would make people organically change from Steam to Epic Game Store. That sort of methodology of trying to brute force this thing by throwing money at it was not something that was viewed favorably, as all it did was essentially turn the PC ecosystem into kind of a console-esque kind of landscape where companies buy out exclusivity. Nice. And yes, the launchers are free. You can download both Epic and Steam, and you can use them both. But, people are just inconvenienced by that. They do like having everything in one place. And there's a security that comes with, like, investing in one ecosystem like Steam, where they know.
Actually, that's not real security. At Steam, you can be banned at any time and you lose all your games. You don't own anything you buy on Steam, okay? So that's probably the first big thing. You don't own anything that you have on Steam. There is no security, and well, in the real life, you want to separate your investments. You want a lot of small investments, not one big one. So the Steam goes actually against logic in a lot of cases like this. But I get it.
What they can expect from that platform, and with Steam Deck being a thing and that console favoring Steam because obviously it's made by Valve and it was designed around Steam. Having a game not come to Steam and not being able to be played on the Steam Deck in a kind of a seamless fashion because Epic Game Store paid enough money to secure exclusive rights to a certain game like that was just not something that people were jiving with. Epic Game Store does have a better revenue split between the platform and the developers, which is great, but on the customer side of things, on the consumer side of things, they just did not make a particularly good impression. All of that contributes to a situation where Epic Game Store just hasn't been able to make the headway it would have liked. And this was something that was admitted in court during that court case against Google. So right here, Kotaku highlights one aspect of this court case that The Verge is covering here, but this is a full rundown of that court case. This specific Kotaku article kind of highlights specifically the profitability of the Epic Game Store, which even today is still not profitable. Again, this storefront launched in late 2018. It is now.
That is crazy that it's still not profitable. Now, I understand why it's unprofitable, by the way, and it's pretty simple. They have enough money from Fortnite that they don't have to actually worry about profitability. This is what every big business that wants to be successful pretty much does. They first acquire a huge amount of customer base, and then they worry about profitability. Because just having a bunch of customers on your platform is already worth it in its own right. Okay? So the profitability aspect doesn't even matter if you have a lot of customers, because as long as you figure out a way to get them to pay, well, you're gonna be profitable. So Epic Store is trying to acquire as many customers as possible, but that's seemingly just not working out. Even with all of their discounts, special games, special offers, and all of those things. But man, it's kind of wild to imagine that they still haven't made a dime in 5 years. Are they just pushing everything into development, or what's the deal here? Also, could possibly be
late 2023. This store has been out for 5 years now, trying to compete against Steam for 5 years, and it's still in the red. It's still spending more money than it's making, and it's proving to be something of a detriment for Epic as a company in terms of, its revenue potential and all these things. A lot of that money is spent on trying to offer free games to users, trying to buy out exclusives, and of course adding more features and keeping the store up.
Yeah, so this actually, yeah, if that, I don't know what the Epic Game Store actually, does, because I have never used it. But yeah, since they're doing this, yeah, they're not even worried about profitability. They're just probably saying, "Oh, we're not profitable in court because reasons or something like that."
Updated, but the amount of headway that Epic Games Store has made in the time that it's been out has been a little too slow, and just giving out games and exclusivity and all these things, it hasn't been enough to pull away people from Steam. And so amidst this court case against Google, Epic Games Store has had to admit as part of the proceedings that the storefront is not doing as well as they'd like. Epic Games Store boss Steve Allison admitted that the PC store isn't profitable and said that growth was still the company's main goal. This is information that would usually be kept confidential because obviously...
No, that's not the information that would be kept confidential. Well, actually, technically is information that would be kept confidential because it technically classifies as 100% a company in their secret. So you can't just spout it around everywhere. But you need to understand the difference between secrets and something blatantly obvious by anyone who understands even a single shred about a business, okay? Like, it's very blatantly obvious what they're trying to do, okay? You can Google, and there are sites that provide detailed summaries of companies and how much profit, how much X, and blah 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 they have done in a year, because that's all public in the public domain to a degree. So everyone, this is kind of an open secret. It's technically a secret, but it's as open as it gets. Like, everyone knows that that's exactly what they're doing.
Obviously, the optics surrounding that are negative, and it generates negative PR, and it would result in headlines that don't shine Epic Games Store under a good light. But because these are legal proceedings that often lead to confidential information being revealed, in order for the judge and everyone to have the information necessary to make a deliberation, this is something that Epic Games Store had to disclose. And this is a situation that goes against Tim Sweeney's expectations.
This is probably the real situation is they expected to make like $1 a year or something like that if they're not like just reinvesting every single penny into development. They probably are, though. By the way, they're probably investing every single penny that they make back into development. So that's also a thing that you need to consider in this situation. Anyway, it's not that bad as it sounds. It's kind of shocking that they have not made a cent, because, man, I would think they would. 5 years? Wow. I think the crazy part is in 5 years you would actually start to expect that they make real money slowly, that they are done with their customer base acquisition process. But man, they aren't. That's crazy.
Of making a profit by 2023, which is now. I previously discussed how Epic took Apple to court for the same reasons that they're taking Google to court. Well, during those proceedings, Epic CEO Tim Sweeney tweeted that losing more than $300 million on the store was all part of the plan. It was a fantastic plan and helped grow the store and its business. It was all, part of a long-term investment to make this thing profitable. Also, during that same trial against Apple, Epic said its PC store would start turning a profit in 2023. That was Tim Sweeney's prediction. 2023 is almost over, and during recent court proceedings against...
Well, to be honest, if they actually had a prediction that they're gonna only start to churn out a profit in 5 years, if you're off by I don't know a year or a year and a half, that's actually not even that bad in this situation, because you are dealing in a very unpredictable market and whatnot.
Google, Epic has had to admit that that goal was not met. It is still not profitable. So it seemed as though Tim Sweeney's optimism back in 2021 when they were fighting Apple was overblown. It seemed as though that optimism has not panned out, and Tim Sweeney got a little overzealous with his ambitions. Or as Kotaku's article aptly puts it here, Epic has admitted that its grand plans to spend hundreds of millions of dollars on free games for its users to grow its store at an artificially fast pace didn't pan out, and Epic Games Store is still not profitable. Tim Sweeney's thought process was, if we keep throwing money at this thing and just buy a bunch of stuff, everything will resolve itself, but that's just not how...
Now, the way he's talking about this is just a misconception, okay? Yeah, everything's not going as well as expected, and maybe they will shut down, by the way. Who knows at this rate? Or maybe they will stop trying to grow their... There is a chance that they will stop aggressively trying to grow their customer base and just concentrate on profits, because again, concentrating on customer growth by spending millions and not making a penny for 2, 3, 4 even years. Again, 5 is kind of on the high scale here, so I'm not sure about that one. But if he expected by the end of 2023 to become profitable and you're still not, I mean, if it takes one more extra year, it's not a big deal, honestly. 2 years, getting dodgy. 1.5 years, getting kind of dodgy. But half a year plus, or, 1 more year to get profitable from that point, that's not a big loss. It sounds like everything's still kind of going more or less according to expectancies. It's just like adjustments on the fly. Because you also need to understand this. Now, usually there is one number when people say, okay, by this time we expect to do X and X and X. Now, if it's building houses, yeah, that's the actual number. That's the actual number when you expect to finish things. But for most other industries, it's like, okay, we're gonna do this, and we expect this in that time frame, and it's an actual time frame from this to this. And then there's the fastest amount. Well, the fastest time that it can be done, and the slowest time that it can be done. And usually you call it kind of in the middle in a lot of cases. So again, I don't think Epic Store is doing that bad, honestly. Especially if they now switch to trying to get profitable. It's not going as well as they expect. And in a situation like this, you could actually just shaft everything that you're doing. It's possible. But no. This is not as bad as Young thinks.
How, customer loyalty works, especially when Steam is so well established and is so feature complete.
Steam has no customer loyalty.
And it's just such an ideal environment for PC gamers. You have to just really outdo and outshine Steam. You have to just be better than Steam. That's how you get people to shift over to...
Well, you don't. Like, what are the systems that you are talking about that Steam's really good at? The marketplace? I guess that's a big one to some people, but for most, the marketplace kind of doesn't matter that much. Again, Steam's primary functions are buy game, look games that you want to play, buy game, look more game you play. No, how do I say this stupidly? Buy game, look game one play, buy good game again, and rinse and repeat. That's pretty much it. That's what Steam does, and then you can launch it, download it, and everything's fine. As long as Epic Store can just fight that, that's fine. Because how many people on Steam are actually using, for example, the chat message system? Probably no one. Yeah, probably roughly exactly no one. How many people are using the profile building tools of Steam? Probably no one. Yeah, probably roughly no one. Yeah, those are not things that Epic needs to care about. Those are not things that anyone needs to care honestly about.
Your platform, but pissing off customers by trying to brute force them, by trying to strong arm them into going to Epic Games Store by saying you are not allowed access to the games that we poured money into to make it exclusive to our platform. That's going to make people more resistant to checking out your games.
Not really. Like, I don't give a shit. If most people probably don't give a shit. Like, the loyalty against Steam is non-existential. The only thing that people are loyal to Steam is 90% discount in already existing collections. But if someone has a game that they really want to play, they're gonna go and check it on Epic Store. As long as the Epic Store registration doesn't take 15 years and it's easy to navigate. Like, people are sooner or later gonna check that. There is no magic loyalty towards Steam. Steam is not a personality.
Store out of spite, which I think is a lot of what we saw in the early days of Epic Games Store. A lot of spite because of the lack of features, just the baffling lack of features, and the audacity to try to get people to transfer from Steam to Epic Games Store, despite it just being a worse environment. Epic Games Store has made a lot of headway since, it finally added a freaking shopping cart and stuff like that. But
wait, they didn't have basic features like that? Are you kidding me? So they made a store and this store didn't have basic store features? Yeah, no wonder. Okay, maybe Epic's just a bunch of idiots. You know what? I take everything I said back. Maybe they're just a bunch of idiots. Dude, no wonder they're hitting their expectancy date by probably a year at least at this point. If they can't make... Dude! What do you mean? How can you make a shop without making a shop?
A lot of people would still argue that Steam is kind of way ahead of the curve right now. And no amount of strong...
Yeah, they have shopping cart. That's huge for a store.
...arming with, free games and exclusives is going to change that. And one of the serious side effects of the Epic Games Store not making a profit this year like Tim Sweeney planned, like it was supposed to, is that it's resulted in jobs being cut, or at the very least...
Yeah, that's just flat out a lie. The Epic Games Store not performing as wanted doesn't mean that it's responsible for these job cuts.
Was likely a contributing factor to the fact that
contributing factor, yes, but seriously, no.
On September 28th, 2023.
Okay, Young, you're gonna talk more stuff, I guess. Anyway, that was Young, yeah. Young, yeah! Youngie, yay! That's a better name, by the way. Anyway, yeah, that's kind of it. Pretty insane. Man, not having a shopping cart, yeah, well... Bruh, they must be doing a lot of things wrong. Because the reality is, like, the free shit should have probably mattered than exclusive titles. But did they actually even get good exclusive titles? I don't think they did. Man, this is if they don't even have a shopping cart, this is just a fail of fails. Wow. How do you make a store without a shopping cart in the modern day? Anyway, this was Quizzer Said. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and have a nice day. Bye bye.